Okay. We are back with another episode. Tipsy Tailgate Media. I'm Aiden,
I'm Ben.
and we're back with NFL Week 7. Last week we were busy. So we had to take
We had
one
a bye
off.
week. We had a
Yeah,
bye
we
week.
we had
It
our
was a,
bye
it was a
week.
tipsy bye week.
It was a tipsy bye week. Hopefully, you guys had enough replacements in your fantasy lineup to replace our absence. Maybe a couple other podcasts, maybe a
I'm
Barstool
sure.
podcast in the
I mean,
meantime.
they did what they could, but nothing's replaced. I mean, it's like when Jimmy played those first four games, or first three rather, for Tom when he got suspended. Did he get the job done? Sure. Was he Tom Brady? Fuck no. Fuck no.
It's like
So
Matt Castle for that 1 year, but
yeah,
but
yeah.
not
It,
as effective.
like it was good, but did you make the playoffs? No, no, no.
So we're back off the bye week, and let me tell you, I mean, we are geniuses this year on the picks, and we're gonna get to that in just a second. But Week 7 is here. Um, if you guys are following us along, we're never gonna miss a week. That's for sure on social. So go and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all those platforms, YouTube, of course. Listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, at Tipsy Tailgate Media. And a big part of that is if you go and check out our Instagram or Twitter every week, we're posting on Sunday at 10 a.m. We're posting our picks. And let me tell you, we're doing a great job right now. I am 19, 15, and one push. Ben is 17 and 14. Listen, I said it a couple episodes ago. If you're over 500 in sports betting, it's usually
You're
you're
doing
doing
something right.
great.
You're doing something right.
We're both, I'm 4 games up. You're 2 games up from 500. Like, this isn't a flash in the pan. We know what we're doing. It's Week 7, and we've been dialed in so far. So make sure, if you're interested in picks, it's not gambling advice, but, we're definitely giving out some solid tips here if you wanted to go in at your own risk. And with that said, there's another thing we've been keeping track of this year, and it's been our Patriots pick'em for games. And, we're not doing too hot. The Patriots aren't doing too hot, which
No,
plays into us not doing too hot on this.
no.
I am 2-4. Ben is 3-3 on picking Patriot games this year, and we're gonna have another one this week.
I mean, the
Starting,
Raiders, really, the Raiders.
I mean,
How are we
that's
supposed? How are you supposed to know? I mean, given they're horrible, we are terrible, but the Raiders suck. They suck. You know what? We suck that bad. We are just that bad. So I'm not picking us to win another game all year. Not one.
and
Not
you know
one.
what? And it's worse that it was the Raiders because they're like what the Dolphins used to be, where it's every single former coach, every single
Yep.
former player. It's just a worse Patriots
Right.
is what it
Well,
used to be.
right now they're a better Patriots.
Exactly. So that was a really, really tough watch. And let's just get straight into the Patriots game this week. Bills are going to New England. 9-point underdogs. The Patriots are at home. I don't know if I've ever seen that in my lifetime. 9-point underdogs. And 40 is the over-under. Ben, I'll let you take the floor. I'll let you take the floor on
This
this.
is gonna be one of those where the over is gonna hit, but it's gonna be one team scoring. I think
Yeah.
the Pats lose 45-13. I think they get absolutely shredded.
Oof.
I think Bill's shot. I think Bill's done. At least in New England. Maybe a little later we'll talk about where he could end up.
Ooh.
But I think Bill's done
Stay
in New
tuned.
England. I think he's done there. I think he's ruined Mac Jones. Do I think that Mac Jones was ever going to be a Hall of Fame caliber player? No. But is he supposed to be far better than what he is right now? Yeah, 100% he is.
Yeah.
I think last year Bill ruined his confidence. I think there's no trust between Mac and the organization, let alone just Bill. I don't think he trusts anyone on the team anymore. I think Bill O'Brien has done what he can with the horrendous amount of talent that he has with this offense. Obviously, Judon and Gonzalez getting hurt. We saw the writing on the wall on that one. Those were easily your two best players. No one's bought in at this point, and I don't think they should be. Clearly, no one's buying what Bill's selling. I think Bill has checked out since about that Cowboys loss. I think he checked out after that one, and I think the team as a whole checked out after that one. This team is horrendous. They're not good. They have no talent, and I'm going to enjoy watching them get blown out on Sunday. I think it's going to be funny.
Yeah. So really quickly, while we're on this, do you think that at this point, are you good and are you looking forward to the idea of the Patriots kind of tanking this one out and looking
Yes.
for a top pick, maybe a
Yes.
quarterback?
Yes. I want the Pats to get Drake May. If you get
Okay,
Drake May, here's my. Let's just get into it. Let's get into my plan for the Pats.
let's hear it.
Bill's got to go. You got to trade Bill. That's you have to trade Bill, and you have to get some kind of asset for him. Because listen, I know people are going to be like, "Oh, well, he's shot. He's done." All right. How many times have you seen a coach look like he's done, and then a team still gives him a chance to regroup and recover? You saw with Mike Ditka when he went to the Saints. He did a
Mhm.
horrible job there, but they still went for it. Um, but yeah, you saw with Jimmy
Jimmy,
Johnson going to
yeah,
Miami. That's another example of it. Um,
you're seeing it now with Sean Payton almost.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, you are. You're right, 100%. So Bill, as long as Bill wants to coach in the NFL, a team's going to take him. A team will take him. You see it with players all the time. You saw it with Emmitt Smith going to the Cardinals late in his career. Even though everyone knew it was going to be a disaster, they still wanted to do it because guess what? It affects your bottom line. It makes you more money, and that's why teams do it. Um, I think you have
Zeke
to.
to the Pats.
Well, yeah, another one. Perfect. Another one. Bill should get traded to the LA Chargers to coach that team that has a lot of talent, and they have a lot of talent in that defense, which I think he could fix. And then just let Herbert, kind of like the end with Tom, let Tom do what he's going to do in the offense. You control the defense. I think that they could find a lot of success with Bill in LA there. Besides the point, what I think the Pats need to do on their end, outside of trading Bill, promote Gerard Mayo to head coach because everyone on the team loves him. And if you're going to find some sort of buy in again, it's going to be with Mayo. So you have to promote Mayo,
I like that.
revitalize, re energize that defense, which we know has talent. We know it's good. You have all the pieces that you need. Maybe add in a linebacker, and then the defense is fine. The thing that really fucked him over was Judon getting hurt. Even beyond Christian Gonzalez getting hurt, Judon getting hurt is what really put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
And then rebuild the offense. Keep Bill O'Brien on as the OC. I really don't think that it's been him. That's the problem at all with the offense. I think it's the lack of talent. I think it's the way that Mac has played. I think the O line is awful. And
O
obviously,
line's. Oh my gosh,
the
it's
O line is so
disgraceful.
bad. The O line is horrible. You have to completely rebuild from there. Get a guy like Drake May in the draft, which you're on pace to do. I don't think you even have to tank. I think you have to go out there and be yourself, and you will fall into
Yeah.
what, a top 5 pick. So
Yeah.
honestly, I think with Mayo, they'll be in good hands. It'll be a little rocky at first. They won't be, especially with the state of the division, how good the division is. But if you do a complete rebuild with Mayo, give him the keys, give him a 5-year period to turn it around, especially given how good the Bills and the Dolphins and even the
Uh
Jets
huh.
is looking at are going to be for the next few years. You hand the keys over to Mayo, let him do what he's going to do, see what he can do, and draft a new quarterback and get it started from there. That's what I think the Pats need to do. As much as I love Mac, and as much as I think everything that happened isn't really on him
Uh huh.
at this point, he's shot. His confidence is done. You have to start fresh with a new guy. Hopefully Drake May because he is the real deal. And I was talking to this. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here.
No, go ahead.
I was talking to our friend Jason. If you watch Drake May and watch Drew Bledsoe right next to each other, they have the same exact throwing motion. They have a very similar build. And how poetic would that be to draft another guy like a Bledsoe to bring you back to a winning culture? Bledsoe, who doesn't get enough credit for
Mhm.
everything that he did for the Patriots, given that Tom took over and won the Super Bowl. Drew Bledsoe, I would argue, is one of the biggest reasons that the Pats have the culture that they've had over the past 25 years. He is the reason that they were able to build what they were able to build. You needed that guy to get you out of the dog shit zone into we're a real team, we're a real competitor. And to me, that's what Drew Bledsoe did. So I think it would be, honestly, it would be a beautiful thing to see a guy like Drew Bledsoe come back and do the same thing. It'd be a full circle type of thing for the franchise.
Yeah. So I got a couple things I want to post you here. Do you think it's worth it to, you know, give Malik Cunningham some starts, whoever it is, Will Greer some starts in hopes of being bad enough to maybe secure that number one overall pick? Because Caleb Williams is, as good as Drake May might be, Caleb Williams has pretty much all the hype right now. What do you think about that?
I would honestly rather Drake May over Caleb Williams, and here's why. I think Caleb Williams has an attitude problem. We've seen what he's been saying the last. I don't know if you've seen it, but the last few days he's
Yep.
been saying some wild stuff. That if I'm a team, I want no part of that. You're not even in the league yet, and it's completely different from the way that Eli and Elway went about it, where they said, "Well, we don't want to go to this team." It's asking for ownership in a team. Like, who do you think you are? Honestly, who do you think you are? At least
Yeah.
John Elway was a spectacular. I'm not saying that Caleb Williams isn't a spectacular athlete, but Elway was drafted by the Yankees. He was the best football player in the nation. Not that Caleb Williams isn't. Eli Manning was a Manning, Peyton Manning's little brother and Archie's son. So you knew what you had there. You knew that Eli Manning was going to be great. Caleb Williams, like, who do you think you are? Really? Who do you think you are to ask for ownership? Like, dude, you're a college quarterback. You can't be saying shit like that. To me, that means that there's going to be further problems down the line, and you don't want to get beholden to a guy. In all honesty, I don't care how good he is. You don't want to get beholden to a guy like that. So I'd rather Drake May.
Okay, so that's interesting. So, and I hear you on a lot of those points. The stuff he's been saying is definitely been a little troubling recently. Um, I don't think he should be going out there and talking all that. At the end of the day, like we've seen guys be great in college and
Yeah,
then really
and then
underwhelm,
just not
and
good.
exactly, it's a completely different game over there.
Now,
So,
with that said, though, Caleb Williams would be the biggest bust. He would be the biggest bust that
oh,
we've
the way
seen.
he's talking, yes, if he,
Yeah.
yeah. And so with all things accounted for, that being said, exactly what you just mentioned, I still like Caleb Williams a lot. He's easily my QB1 here. And I actually have a different QB2 than you. It's not Drake May for me. It's actually Michael Penix Jr. I
Oh, that's
really like
interesting.
him.
That's interesting.
I really like him. And I just think that, you know, what we've seen since in the post Brady era is a lot of being behind the curve. A lot of, we're still doing stuff the old way. We're still not
Right.
adjusting. I
Right.
think we need to adjust. And, not that you can't do it with a pocket passer. Drake May, it's not like he can't move.
Right.
Um,
A bit of
so,
a
so
Herbert quality to him.
exactly. Yes. He's like 6'4", 230, I believe. And he can move a little bit. So not that he can't do it, but I just think Penix brings a whole nother, way that this offense can really get going. Like I think that this is a team that we need the playmakers. We need all the playmakers we can get just because we know we're not going to hit on QB or a receiver in the draft. We know
Right.
we're not going to sign a big receiver.
Well, what if Bill's not there?
See,
Then you
like
could.
then, yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
you would.
Then things change. But going off the past decade, 2 decades, you can't expect us to hit on a receiver. You can't expect us to hit on a stud running back. I mean, Ramondre is good, and this O line is a lot to blame. But I wouldn't put him in the top 10 right now. But what I'm saying here is, why don't we go ahead and grab a quarterback that can make those plays a little bit himself as well as from the pocket? I mean, we saw him at Indiana. He was great. I understand there's a lot to worry about with coming off that those two ACLs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a reason for why I could see the Patriots doing this is because what are we always known to do on draft day? And if Belichick's still there, we'll probably do again.
Take the surprising pick that no one thought you would.
Well, we usually trade back first and
Oh
then
my
do that.
God.
So,
You're right.
I mean, Penix, as good as he is and as good as he might do to finish the year, he's mocked around 22 right now. I could
If
see us trading back to around 12, 15 and trying to get that and trying to get some more value in that situation. May's not lasting. Caleb's definitely not lasting. I don't think
right,
Shadur is going to enter the draft.
right,
So I think Penix is a huge, like, not red flag, but like blinking alarm that's right there,
right.
and it's like you can go get him and still get capital left. So that's why I think this might be a move that the Pats could go for, and it would be interesting to see because we've never really had a quarterback that he's a lefty, I believe, right?
Right.
Um, we've never had a guy that could just make things happen on his feet while being able to move out of the pocket and throw on the run. I mean, I'm interested to see what you think.
If Bill does that, I will officially quit my Patriots fandom. If you have Drake May in the hand and you go back and take someone out, I personally, and this is because I think Drake May, it's going to sound a little blasphemous, I think he is the most surefire, sure thing in the draft. He might not have the highest ceiling, but I think he has the least bust ability out of all the quarterbacks that are coming in. And I know
Mhm.
that sounds crazy with Caleb Williams,
Okay.
but to be honest, his comments disturbed me that much this week. That's how much I'm worried about it. I'm not saying he will be a bust. I'm saying I'm worried. I'm worried about a guy having that kind of attitude coming in. If you have Drake May sitting there and you're at like 4 or 5, which you will be there. You're the Patriots right now. You will be in 4 through 6. You will be in that territory. You are that bad.
Yeah.
If you leave Drake May on the board, I'll be fucking pissed. I will be pissed. I will be so mad. So mad.
Yeah, that would be I mean, it would depend what
But
they
to your
do with
point,
it,
it
but
would be
agreed.
so Bill. It would be so Bill to do that.
Yeah, and I
But
also
then again, does Kraft step in and say, hey, no, you're taking this kid. You're not trading back. You're taking this
so
kid right now.
what I was gonna say is, what do you think about all the reports, especially today and yesterday, that are coming out about Kraft being very open, or not very open, but it's getting leaked. And usually, what we know from Patriots, the organization, is if it's getting leaked on purpose because they're that tight knit. Do you think it's something with Kraft? Is there truth behind those reports that Kraft is already, maybe looking at life after Belichick?
I think so. I think so. I think he was doing that last year, not just this year. From everything I've seen and everything I've read,
Mm-hmm.
he was extremely pissed about the move to hire Judge and Patricia last year, as any owner would be and should be. But from stuff that I've seen, I'm pretty sure that Kraft was close to pulling the trigger and getting rid of Bill last year, even before the
Yeah.
season.
Uh-huh.
So if he was that close last year when you go 8-9, I mean, why wouldn't you get rid of him when you're going 3-14?
No, for sure. Yeah,
Like,
and it
so
makes
yeah,
sense.
and I mean everything that they've said to Mayo, and I know that we went through the same thing with McDaniels, talking about, oh, you're next in line, you're next in line. It was completely different. Like, Bill was making the playoffs then. He went 10-7 with a rookie quarterback, and it looked like let's be honest, it looked like Bill may have gotten another Super Bowl in him. He may have had another one in him. When you go 10-7 with a rookie quarterback, like there's no
No, of
ceiling
course.
on that. There's no
Yeah, there's no
ceiling.
reason to think
No
that.
reason to think
Exactly.
that he couldn't get it done again. But yeah, if you're 3-14 and you're Robert Kraft, who is an aggressive businessman and does whatever it takes to win, you're getting rid of Bill. I can't see him keeping him. And to be honest, the whole keep Bill as the coach, get rid of him as the GM thing, that doesn't
He
work for
would
me either.
never. He
It
would.
doesn't work
Well,
for
I
me.
don't even think he would.
Yeah, I don't think it works for him
I mean,
either.
everything we know about Bill Belichick is, I want to do things my way or
Right,
the highway. So
right.
why would he? No.
And,
Um,
and like on top of Bill himself, you got to get his fucking kid out of there. I'm so sick of seeing his son. Like, get the fuck out of here. Honestly, honestly, get him out of here. Just sticking his tongue out on national television. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm so sick of seeing it.
uh,
So sick of seeing it.
I think we agree on a lot of these points, and I'm excited to see as the draft heats up and that college football season heats up, and we kind of see where we're going to be picking. These conversations are going to be good, especially if I'm on the Caleb train and you're on the May train.
Right.
It'll be cool to see how that pans. So make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe to keep following our content and seeing that. But back to the game. Bills at Pats +9 are the Patriots underdogs by 9 points. 40 is the over under. I think the Patriots lose in this one.
Yep.
I'm not taking the 9 points just because who knows? It's the Patriots at home against the Bills. We have a history of course, in the Brady era, but we have a history of, you know, really putting the hurt on the Bills at times. So I'm not going to go with the plus with that 9 points. What I'm going to say though is Bills over team total 24.5 points. I think that's one of the biggest locks of the week. This Bills offense has been, even when it's had its slow points, it's still been scoring a lot of points. So give me that Bills over 24.5. That's my pick, and I'm going Bills. I think the Bills win this game. What about you?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills as well. I think they absolutely crushed the Pats. Again, I think the over hits, and I think it's because of one team scoring. I think the Bills hit the over themselves.
Yeah, they could. Yeah,
So I really, this team is bad. There's no buy-in. The Bills need a get right win, and you know what's interesting? I heard this on one of my favorite Boston shows today. Does it really seem like? Remember Mac's rookie year when the Bills beat us, and you could just tell that they reveled in it. They loved it. Like they loved that they beat the
that
Pats.
that
It just
playoff one.
fired. Yeah, it just
Oh,
fired them up that they kicked the Pats' ass.
oh,
They beat us, and they don't care anymore. That's how much you've fallen. They beat
yeah,
you, and they really. It's like another day at the office. They really don't care,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
kind of embarrassing. Like really embarrassing. So
Yeah, I mean, we had all the momentum coming off a 20-year dynasty to stay, even if we're a mediocre team and we're just flirting with the playoffs every year,
yeah.
we just stay, you know, aggressive and stay in the minds of other teams.
Mm-hmm.
We've fallen so far that we're an
You lose,
afterthought
and
right
no one
now.
cares. No one cares.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the Cowboys when everyone was like, "Oh, maybe they're gonna be good this year," and then they were terrible. They get Zeke at like what pick 4, I think, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I think they went to the playoffs after they were great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even, it's not even one of those things. It's not like, oh, it's our off year. We're going to get a high pick and then bounce right back. It's not like that. I don't think.
No, it's
I
a
think this
complete
is
rebuild.
exactly.
Complete
I think we need to
rebuild.
go into a full rebuild. And we talked about that last week.
We talked about that a couple weeks ago. We
Yeah.
didn't buy into a complete rebuild, and that's why you're in the
It's
situation
cost
that you
us.
are now.
Uh,
I think Bill tried to chase Tom's success in Tampa way too quick. He tried to get
he
ahead of
knew
the
it would,
curve.
I
He
mean,
knew
either
that Tom
way.
was going to
Yeah,
win. He knew that Tom
exactly.
was going to
He
win,
wanted to keep up.
and he
Yeah.
wanted to keep up with him exactly. And this is what it got you.
Yeah.
I
No,
understand
it's
Bill's mindset in
100%.
that, but listen, that led to your demise in New England, which is kind of sad. But hey, like if you're gonna win games, you can't be here anymore.
Agreed. Okay, on to this next one because we took a decent chunk of time on that one. Lions at Ravens. Ravens are 3-point favorites. Interesting line there.
Yeah.
3-point favorites. Home 43 is the over under. What I think plays into this line is the fact that the Ravens or the Lions are without David Montgomery. He's
Yep.
hurt. Jameer Gibbs missed last week. I'm not sure if he's supposed to play this week or not. But
He has to be.
either way, he hasn't been great.
Right.
He's been very
Right.
underwhelming,
Even
actually.
when Montgomery
I'd
was
go ahead and
out,
say that.
even when
Yeah.
Montgomery was hurt, he wasn't that great.
And with that said, I mean, watch out because Craig Reynolds is a good running back. I've always liked Craig Reynolds. He's a grinder, grinding to make the team year after year.
Yep.
And I think he's going to be a good. I think he might be their RB1 in as much time as Montgomery misses, unless Gibbs finally wakes up. I mean,
Is Gibbs? It's early. It's early. But if you're Jameer Gibbs,
he's yeah.
you're in a perfect situation where you have an absolute beast to work off of in David Montgomery, who's having the best year of his career, and you
Yeah.
have a great O line, you have a great offense, you have a motivational head coach who is looking like the coach of the year. He might have what, the second or third best team in the NFC right now.
Yeah.
Are you a bust, Jameer Gibbs? Like, are you a bust? I know it's 6 weeks into his career, but dude, running back isn't one of those positions where we typically see guys have to ease into it. Saquon hit the ground running. Christian McCaffrey hit the ground running. Zeke, as you just said, carried the Cowboys to a 13-3 season.
Really, the only one I could think of is Derrick Henry. He had a year and a half where he was all right, and then he
got his man body, and then bam, just took over.
I agree.
Like, honestly, I think it's time to start talking about, not label him as a bust. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's concerning. It's concerning. Very concerning.
100%. And that probably plays into this line. So, what do we think here? I want to completely buy into the Ravens, but I don't love their weapons. I mean, I like Zay Flowers a lot, and I think he's going to have a really solid career. Mark Andrews, bro, where you been?
He's had an awful
He's
year.
Dropping passes.
He
had a bad second half of last year. It's literally the second I traded for him the second I traded for Lamar Jackson in fantasy. I think from you, Ben.
Yep,
last year.
It was.
Since that point, Mark Andrews has been a nobody. He's been
Absolute dog
a
shit.
top 15, 20 tight end. You're supposed to be top 3, man. Like
Top two. He's supposed to be
top 2.
top
I mean,
two.
it's embarrassing on especially with the expectations he was supposed to have at what he's doing right now. So I don't know. I don't even want to buy into those guys. And then on the other side, the Lions, yeah, the running game might not be there, but their O line is phenomenal. And
Phenomenal.
they're going to make whatever
Phenomenal.
running backs in there do great. So, like I'm saying, I think I'm going Lions here. I think the Lions win this game.
Tipsy Bowl of the week. I'm taking the Ravens. I'm going to take the Ravens.
I
Um,
love it.
to me, I've been saying this all year, and the Lions have been. I didn't say anything negative about the Lions, but I said that they have to prove consistency because they're a team that hasn't found historical success. So now you're the Lions at 5-1, and I believe the Ravens are what 4-2,
Though wait, so the Lions are 4 and
five
2.
and one.
They might be 5-1. Are they
I
5 and
think the
1?
Lions are 5 and
5 and
one,
1. Yeah, 5
and
and 1.
I
Ravens are
believe the
4 and
Ravens
2.
are 4-2.
Yeah.
To me, this is the perfect scenario where we see every single year in the NFL where you have a team on the rise, like the Lions are 5-1. They're playing great, and it's nothing really against them, but you're playing an established team. The Ravens, who, in my opinion, are not even in my opinion, it's just the truth, are one of the iconic franchises in the NFL who have one of the best coaches and one of the best quarterbacks. The Lions are going to lose this game. The Ravens need it more. The Ravens, if they fall to 4-3, you're kind of playing catch up in the AFC right now, given how well all the AFC teams are playing. So the Ravens need this one more, and for that reason, I'm going to go with them to beat the Lions. And David Montgomery being out, as you said, is a major reason as to why I'm doing so.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say there at the end of that was that the Lions, even without their running back, their main running back, and if Gibbs if he doesn't play, I still like their weapons on their receiving core and their tight end. Laporte
Yeah,
has been phenomenal. Laporte has
he's
been
so good.
everything. He's been everything Mark Andrews hasn't been. Jamison Williams is back and he caught a touchdown last week. Hasn't done much, but he caught a touchdown last week, and I think he's ready to start
Yeah,
exploding
he
off. I
just
mean,
needs some time. He needs some time.
exactly. And then on the other side, I mean, Amon-Ra is phenomenal. Josh Reynolds is good. Khalif Raymond. They have so many good position players. People forget. So it's going to be up to that O line. I think they're going to win in the
Yeah.
trenches if that O line can provide some push for Craig Reynolds, Gibbs if he plays. We're going to see some exciting stuff in that game. So that's going to be a fun game to watch. Maybe game of the week, honestly.
It might be. It might be.
Commanders at Giants. The Giants are 2.5-point underdogs at home. 37.5 is the over/under. Give me the Commanders. I just think the Giants are just so flat. This is just a red flag of a year for them. Complete alarms. Fire the alarms.
They're in a similar situation as the Pats, except
They just paid their
Dable's
quarterback.
they just paid their quarterback and
Yeah.
Dable isn't going anywhere.
Uh-huh.
I really can't see Dable getting fired. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the. You know what? No, I'm gonna go with the Giants. I'm gonna take the Giants. Um, I don't think that highly of the Commanders. I think they fight. I think they play hard, but the Giants kind of showed me something last week. They showed a little bit of grit that I don't think a 1-5 team should have. They showed much more heart and compete than the Pats did.
Hmm.
I mean, that's obvious. The Pats literally just don't try anymore. Um, but yeah, I think the Giants showed something last week. I thought Tyrod played very well. I thought he looked great. Is Danny Dimes playing this week?
I don't think it's confirmed, yes or no, but I
I
think I
thought
think it's trending towards Tyrod.
I thought they responded much better to Tyrod than they did to Danny Dimes, than they have all year. And I think he brings a certain kind of edge to them that Danny Dimes hasn't.
I
I
mean,
think,
yeah. I
to
mean, is it?
me, I saw Taylor out there, and it looked like he wanted it way more than Danny Dimes has all year. It looks like Daniel Jones is fat and happy off that contract, and Tyrod Taylor is coming in trying to fight for a job in the NFL again. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it looks like to me.
Is there something to be said for Daniel Jones getting that huge contract? Many people, including us, thinks he got overpaid. Obviously, he wanted that much. He got paid, whatever. Is there something there where the team is like, they know deep down, they've seen him in
Oh, they
practice
know
every
he's
day.
not the
They're
guy.
like,
They know
they're
he's
like,
not
all
the
right,
guy.
we just paid this guy all this money. He's not doing anything for us right now.
Yeah,
You didn't pay Saquon when he was the whole offense,
yeah, no,
and he's probably out of the door.
right,
So now you give Daniel Jones the money. I mean, there's probably some there. I mean, there could be some trouble in the locker room. That it's a
No, I
real
and
thing.
I'm so happy that you brought up the Saquon element to it because it's not just that Daniel Jones got paid; it's that Saquon didn't, and at
Yeah.
least didn't when he should have been. Um, but Saquon, you can't you can't trick NFL players. You hear it all the time. You hear ex players on ESPN or FS1, and they always say you can't trick the locker room, no matter how much a GM or a coach tries to with a player that they favor or whatnot. You can't trick a locker room. You heard the same thing. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is Tim Tebow because God knows that fucking Daniel Jones is far better than Tim Tebow ever was. But
Maybe not at
everyone,
baseball.
oh, I think I'm better than Tim Tebow at baseball. Um, but everyone on that team knows that the only reason they made the playoffs last year was because of Brian Dable and Saquon Barkley. And I should have said Saquon Barkley first because he was more responsible for it than Brian Dable, regardless of how much of a great job he did.
Mhm.
But everyone sees their leader, their best player, their franchise player not getting taken care of, and the quarterback who, in all honesty, got carried, he did get taken care of. So I'm sure there is a sense of backstabbing, a sense of a lack of loyalty in that room. So I think you hit it on the head.
Okay, off to this next one. Browns at Colts. Colts are 3-point home underdogs. 40.5 is the over under here. Um, whether it's PJ Walker or is Deshaun back? Deshaun practiced for the first time today. Who knows? We do know for the Colts, though, it is Gardner Minshew with
Right.
Anthony Richardson
Out for
likely
the
out for the
year.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which, we could touch on in later weeks. There's no rush on touching on that. But,
Right.
interesting situation there. For the
Tried
Browns,
to warn
though,
him.
yeah, exactly. For the Browns, though, you know, I mean, do you want Deshaun back? If
No.
Deshaun comes back, does he bring much more than what PJ brings?
I think Deshaun
Who
sucks.
knows?
I think Deshaun sucks.
I think he's got like 600 total yards, like
Yeah.
650 total yards. He's played
I
five
really,
games, what, 4 games? Like,
he's not good. He's not a good
what are we
quarterback
throwing for?
anymore.
150 a game now?
Yeah,
What
like
is this?
he's really not good. And Walker showed the ability to distribute the ball, and they established a good running game behind him. And I'm sure a lot of that had to do with the wind got taken out of San Fran's sails with the
Uh
injuries
huh.
early. But regardless, the Browns, similarly to Terod Taylor and the Giants and Daniel Jones, the Browns seem to respond more to PJ Walker than they
Yeah.
have been to Deshaun Watson. So to me, that's a big part of it. It's not just the skill and the talent
Hmm.
that your quarterback brings to the table. It's leadership. It's response from the room. It's do these guys want to fight for you? And I think they do. So honestly,
Yeah.
I think the Browns go out there and win this week.
And this Browns defense is legit,
They are
completely
phenomenal. They're
legit. Now,
phenomenal.
what I'm probably looking at here is that these the Vegas line makers here, 3 points is not that much. I'm thinking coming off a big win, all that talk, all the
Right.
hype going
Right.
into this Colts game, a little bit of a trap game,
Bit of a
maybe
trap
whatever.
game. You're right.
Uh, it's tough for me to pick here. I want to go with this Browns defense taking it, so I'm gonna go Browns here. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be
No, I'm
surprised.
I'm going with the Browns as well, but as you just said, that trap game feel to it does concern me a bit. And on top of that, Gardner Minshew's had some games this year where it's like, damn, he's still pretty good.
Uh huh.
So
So
I'll go with the
yeah.
Browns though.
Okay, next game here: Falcons at the Bucks. Bucks are 2.5 point favorites. 37's the over under. I mean, Falcons off of a pretty bad loss, I'd say, and the Bucks also off a pretty bad loss.
Yep.
In the creamsicles, you go out there in the creamsicles, you gotta put up.
Yep.
They didn't. So this game's interesting to me. I like the Falcons. I like what they're doing. I think this might be the game that we might see Taylor Heineke, and if it is, I'm hammering the Falcons because I love that guy. He could motivate me to jump off a bridge, and I would do it. Like
Oh
he is a
Jesus.
dog. I love him every time he gets out there. I mean, he just balls. He plays.
You know who's a
You
dog,
watch him on
Aiden?
interviews. He's
You
hilarious.
know who's a dog? Baker Mayfield's a dog. The Bucks are winning this game. The
Benny's
Bucks are winning this
Bucks,
game
of
by
course.
2 scores. Mike Evans is going to go off. Baker, listen, I'm sorry. Baker's proven himself to be a legit NFL quarterback this year. I really don't think that you can take anything away from what he's done this year. Not saying he's elite, but he's played very well, and he's proven that a lot of the shit he's taken over the last few years wasn't fully deserved. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm still holding firm on the Bucks making the playoffs. I still think they win that division, so I'm going with the Bucks.
Okay. Give me the Falcons here. I'm not taking -2.5. I honestly maybe even take the Bucks 2.5. Maybe buy that up to 3.5. Something to look at there. But give me the Falcons, even though they let me down on like 2-3 parlays last week.
Falcons suck. They suck.
Give me Heineke, and then we'll talk.
I did fall in love with Taylor Heineke in that playoff game against Tom when he was on Tampa. That was a ballsy performance.
What do we think about this over under 37? Are you leaning over or under on that
I
one?
think
Falcons Bucks.
I'm going over. I'm gonna go over because I think both offenses have the ability to just explode and go off out of nowhere. But then again, Tampa's defense is damn good, and Baker could. I know I just complimented him, but he could have any game where he throws 2 picks and one of them gets
Tampa's
turned
D
into
is
six.
nasty.
But Tampa's defense is unreal. You know what? No, I think it's right. I think the Bucks win 21-13. So yeah, I think it's correct.
Okay, off to this next one. Raiders at Chicago. The Bears are 2.5 point underdogs at home. 37.5 is the over under. What are you feeling about? What do you like in this game? Who do you like?
Does this not feel like a game that Chicago would somehow win? It does to
Hey,
me. It
it
does to
would. I
me.
mean, what's his name? Freaking Badgent at QB. I mean, if they pull this one off,
Yeah, I'm gonna
if
go
they
with the
pull this one
Bears.
off, McDaniels might not make it to the team playing.
Listen, to me, this is exactly the kind of game that the Bears would win, and more importantly, that the Raiders would lose. The Raiders are a shit organization. Um, Josh McDaniels, as much as I loved him, thank God he did not end up being our head coach. He's not good at it. It's not his thing. He's not. He's a leader of offenses. He's not a leader of teams, if that makes sense at all. I think he can focus on one area of the
Uh huh.
game and do a good job of motivating those guys and keeping them in tune with what's going on, keeping them focused on their task at hand. But he's not a full coach leader. He's not a head coach in the NFL. But I'm going to go Chicago this week, at least to cover. At least to cover, but I think they could win.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like it. I think Aiden O'Connell's getting the nod. I like him. I like what he's doing. I don't think he's the future, but I think he's solid. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Raiders here. But I think this is like the worst game of the week by
Yeah, horrible
far.
game. Horrible game.
Cardinals going to Seattle. Seattle is 7.5 point favorites at home. 44.5 is the over under. Cardinals have shown us a lot this year.
They've been taking the bus. The Cardinals have been taking the
Yeah, they've been
bus.
taking the bus. They're gonna have to take the plane to this one though, and
Who knows? They could
and
take. They could take the
maybe
Madden
they'll take the
bus.
bus.
You
Yeah.
can take the Madden bus.
So this one's interesting. I think the Seahawks have a lot to prove here. Gino, I could easily see Gino having another stinker, and as he's had a couple, I believe, this year. And the Cardinals, either covering this or getting the win. But also, I mean, the Seahawks playmakers, they just have so many of them compared to the Cardinals. I wanna say the Seahawks are gonna win this game, but a part of me wants to go with the Cardinals plus 7.5.
Yeah,
That's kind
no,
of where I'm leaning.
I would take Cardinals plus 7.5. The Seahawks will win, but the Cardinals are going to make it a game. Um, I think Gino's been great again, man. A lot of people were saying he might fall off. It was kind of split 50-50. You had people saying that he's going to completely fall off, and the other people saying he was going to be an MVP candidate. I thought both were wrong, and he's kind of been exactly what I thought. He's good. He's very solid. He does his job. He gets the ball out. He gets the ball to his receivers, and the Seahawks are winning games. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks to win again, but it will be close. It's going to be a close one.
You want to talk about a perfect fit? Michael Penix Jr. on the Seahawks.
Damn, you're really chasing Gino out, huh?
I mean,
It's fucked up.
I mean,
That's fucked up.
no, I really love the story of Gino, and I hope they can really get hot
No,
here
but I do
and
see what you're
do
saying.
something.
And wouldn't Geno Smith be a perfect bridge guy to like
Oh, for
help
sure.
mentor a young
Oh,
quarterback,
and you
play
already
another
yes,
1-2 years, and
uh
then the
and
next
you already
guy can step
know
in, and then you're fine.
you already know that this late surgence in the near the end part of his career, I could see him 100% leveraging it and going to the booth as like a Ryan Fitzpatrick,
Yeah,
RG3. So
yeah, he's become such a likable guy.
yeah.
Such a likable guy.
Mhm.
And imagine if that happens, they get Penix, and then it works out with him. How much worse does Russell Wilson look?
Oh
Like,
my
Jesus
gosh.
Christ, he looks so bad. That'd be a horrible look for him.
Yeah, no, Russ. I feel bad about the whole Russ thing because he was honestly one of my favorite quarterbacks when he was in the Seahawks. You know,
He is a horrible football player.
yeah. I mean, oh boy,
He really
I
is.
didn't
He's
want to touch
awful.
on that.
He's awful.
Uh, Steelers going to the Rams. Rams are 3-point favorites at home. 43.5 is the over under here. What do we think? Steelers a little banged up. I
Yep.
think Fryermuth is back. Deontay Johnson might be back. I believe he's practicing. That could be huge.
Yeah.
Defense. It's
I
it's an interesting one. What do you got?
This is gonna be, it's gonna sound weird. This is gonna be, for me at least, one of the more enjoyable games to watch this week. I think it's gonna be highly competitive. I think both teams are very evenly matched. Um, I think that they both may be a tiny bit better than their record show, even though they both had their inconsistencies over the year. But I think their ceilings are both much higher than what their records are right now.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. I believe in Tomlin. I believe in that defense. And I think that Kenny's had a very good season outside the first 2 weeks, which he was awful. But I think Kenny's been kind of what we were expecting him to be. So I'm going to go with the Steelers to win this game. And I'm not necessarily ruling them out to maybe get a bit hot down the line here.
Yeah, I like Steelers +3. I think that line's a little wacky. I don't know if they win just because I feel like the Rams are just so good at covering it and keeping it close. Uh, it's going to be close. It's going to be tough. This is probably one of the tougher ones for me to pick. But I think if you're going to look for any bet there, it's probably Steelers +3, in my opinion. To this next game, this is a better game. Finally, we're heating up a tiny bit. Chargers going to Arrowhead, playing the Chiefs at home. Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites. 48 is the over under. Herbert, I mean, coming off a really bad game,
He was
like
horrible.
he's another one. He's one of those guys where I mean, you want to bunch him in the Trevor Lawrence thing, but Trevor Lawrence, I feel like, has been more impressive at times, and I feel like he's been more consistent. I think Herbert has trouble staying consistent, but you just want him to take that leap where it's like, okay, he is now in the category that
You want him to
that
be in
upper
that Mahomes
echelon.
category. You want him to be in the
Exactly. I
Mahomes
mean,
category.
you want him to shoot right now. He's like teetering,
He's like a
ready to launch
better
off.
he's a better Philip Rivers, where Philip Rivers was in that category below Peyton and Tom and Big Ben and Rogers, where Philip Rivers was that tier below. The only difference between Philip Rivers and Herbert is that Herbert has a far better argument of being in that top tier without actually being in it, if that makes sense at all, what I just said. But he really is just, to this point, Philip Rivers with better stats. He doesn't win that much. The Chargers, to me, it's more telling of the Chargers than anything else. Rivers was great. Herbert's great. Dan Fouts going way back was phenomenal. They got nothing to show for it. So I think this is a systematic issue with the Chargers and how shitty of an organization that they are. They should just like erase that team and let the players become like free agents and go elsewhere. They're a joke.
So I'm assuming you're on the Chiefs here.
I'm on the Chiefs, but with that said, I think they win by field goal. The Chargers always play them very tough. The Chiefs are not as good as they've been in the past. I'm kind of sick of everyone blowing them a bit. I really don't think that the Chiefs are. I don't think the Chiefs have a chance in hell of going to the Super Bowl. I really don't. Um,
Wow.
but the Chargers always play them well, even when the Chiefs were better than they were, better than they are this year. Sorry for that. So I'm going to take the Chargers to keep this within a field goal game. I think the Chiefs win like 27-24.
Okay, I do think it's going to be close. I agree on that. I'm gonna go Chiefs here, though. I think just Mahomes, whether it's a two
He's
minute
going to
drill
find a
at
way
the
to
end,
win the
yeah.
game at the end. Yeah.
So Packers going over to Denver. Denver's 1 point underdog, so it's pick them there. 45 is the over under. Give me the Packers. I mean,
Yeah,
I know Jordan
100%.
Love
I
has
agree.
been
I agree.
underwhelming recently. Give me the Pack.
I think Jordan Love's just going through growing pains. I think maybe I think we actually hit the nail on the head that he's going to have these issues. But I still believe in him. I still feel that Jordan Love is going to have a good career. Maybe not, obviously, Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, but I think he's going to find a bit of success with Green Bay, and I think he'll be their quarterback for at least the next 5 years. I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. And I love the chemistry that he's already developed with Christian Watson. I think Christian Watson is becoming one of the more underrated players across the whole league. I think Christian Watson is phenomenal, and I think he's going to keep getting better along with Jordan Love. So, yeah, give me the Packers this week.
All right, I think we both agree on that one. Dolphins going over to Philly. Philly is in the Kelly green uniforms. Might have to consider that
Oh,
going
yeah.
going into the bets.
Unreal.
Two and a
Unreal.
half points, probably the best jerseys in football, maybe besides the creamsicles and maybe the
Mm-hmm.
Patriots Reds. Um, Dolphins going over to Philly. Philly is 2.5 point favorites at home. 52 is the over under. This is gonna be a shootout. Sunday night football game of the week. Give me all that. I love it. This game's a tough one to pick. Uh, part of me wants to lean to the Dolphins. Um, I know they're a little banged up. I know the Eagles are a little banged up. Lane Johnson, some defensive guys as well. It's gonna be a pretty evenly fought game. I feel like. Um, if I have to pick a winner here, I mean the pick I'm going with really is I think over 52. I think it is what it's going to be anticipated. I think it's going to be a shootout, absolute shootout. I could see it being something similar to what the Super Bowl was this past year, where it's touchdown after touchdown after score
Yep.
score.
Yep.
So give me the over on 52, and you know I have to be honest. I don't love what I've seen from the Eagles yet. They haven't really took off and flown as I thought they would.
I
Give
like that
me
wordplay. I like that wordplay.
fuck. This is a tough one to pick.
I can go.
Do you
I
have
can
one?
go.
Yeah. Do you have one?
I think the Dolphins are gonna not mollywop them, but
How did I know that was
they're gonna
coming?
take care of business. The Dolphins are gonna take care of business. Like you just said, I don't care what the Eagles' record is. They have not looked good all season. They have not. They have not. Has Jalen Hurts looked the same to you? No. Have the receivers looked the same to you? Have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith looked great in the same game like they did all year last year? No. It's been one or the other, which is so weird because they found that perfect balance last year where they'd find a way to get each of them like 6, 7, maybe even up to 10 catches, and then the other one was still eating on the other side of the field. So it didn't matter. It didn't matter how well one played, the other one never struggled. This year, and I think it's more A.J. Brown than Devontae Smith. I think A.J. Brown is starting to have a real problem with how good Devontae Smith has gotten. But the Eagles have a weird mojo about them right now, and I really don't think that they're all that great. They'll make the playoffs for sure, but they've been struggling. Regardless of their record, they've been struggling. And that loss that they just suffered, that's been a long time coming. They have not been playing the right way, and they were due for a loss like that. And I think it's going to continue into this week. I got the Dolphins winning this one.
Um, just to be a little different here, I'm going Finns plus 2.5. So I think they keep it really close, but I do think the Eagles win. Just so we have a little bit of variation on that. I
I
do
can
think this is
tell
gonna
you
be a
want to take
game.
Miami. I can tell you want to take
I
Miami.
just love Tyreek, dude. He is so
He's so
good.
good. He's so
Dude,
good.
he is so nobody can tell me he's not a first
He's
ballot
he's the
receiver.
MVP. He is MVP right now.
I mean, for
Tyreek
two
Hill is the
for
MVP.
he leaves the best quarterback in the league, Mahomes, and then
Maybe
he's
he's going to end up being the second best
yeah.
quarterback ever.
Whoa, wait, run that back.
Mahomes is going to end up being the second best quarterback ever.
I thought you said the best. I was like, whoa, time out. We
No,
gotta go into
no,
that now.
no,
I was like,
no.
whoa. Uh,
I thought you'd know me better by now.
yeah,
Are you
no,
fucking
that's
kidding
why I
me?
thought I had to
You
double
kidding
take.
me?
I had to do a double take. No, I love Tyreek. I mean, for him to leave, like I'm saying, leave Mahomes, go to a new team, to a quarterback that a lot of people think is average, even though he's been a little bit above average the past 2 years.
Right, because
I
of
think,
Tyreek. Because of
yeah,
Tyreek. Let's be honest.
and to be in the MVP convo in both of those years, at least so far for this one, and he was
Yeah,
last year at points. He's a first ballot. I mean, he
yeah.
is a dog.
No, I agree. I agree.
Great. This is gonna be a great game. I love it. Give me the over and Finn's 2.5. Monday Night Football, last game we're going to touch on here. 49ers going to Minnesota. Minnesota's 6.5 point underdogs at home. 44 is the over-under. What do we think? You think the Niners bounce back?
Yeah, I think so. The Niners are pissed. They're ticked off. They shouldn't have lost that game, regardless of the injuries that they had. That was an embarrassing loss for the Niners. I know that Cleveland shows some fight. They have some heart. You got to make that field goal, man. You got to make that field goal. You never want to lose like that. It's clearly a winnable game, given that you have a field goal to win at the end. The last drive, I'm sorry, but that was a ref show. The refs kind of handed the Browns that game at the end. A lot of bad penalties. The Niners were just kind of out there standing around, and they were somehow getting pass interference and holdings. That was kind of bullshit on part of not just the refs, but the NFL. But I'm going to take the Niners to win this one. I think they kind of kick Minnesota's teeth in. I don't think Minnesota stands a chance.
Yeah, I think the Niners take care of business purely off of, just this defense is amazing. And I think this is going to be a game that look out for the under 44 here, because if McCaffrey doesn't go, or if he's banged up, if
Yeah,
Trent Williams doesn't go and he's banged up, or if he plays and he's banged up, and then Deebo Samuel, same thing. If you're doing that, you're missing three of your four best weapons. You got Kittle there, you got Ayuk still there. Um, I mean, we haven't really seen what Purdy is without his top
right.
weapons,
This will
so
be
that'll be
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
So give me the under in this one. I think it's just going to be defensive showdown for the Niners, and I don't think the Vikings can be able to do much on them.
The injury I'm most concerned about is Trent Williams, for sure.
Oh
If
yeah, he's so
he's
good. Oh
he's
my
probably
gosh.
he's their best player. Not even
Yeah.
probably. Like
Oh,
he is their best player.
he.
Um,
I think 2 years, either last year he graded out. Or no, maybe last year from 2 years ago, whatever it was, he graded out as it's the highest PFF rating in the history of the
that's
NFL.
absurd. It's absurd.
Like, just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we got a good slate here. I'm excited for the games. Make sure you guys go ahead and follow us on all platforms: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Watch our podcasts on audio, watch our podcasts on video, like I'm sure you're doing now. Check out our clips on YouTube, and we're going to be having short form clips coming rapidly throughout the week, every week. We also have some exciting news coming up within the next 2 weeks, so make sure you stay tuned, and you're going to want some action in that. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.